Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. The upcoming week on General Hospital, from August 17th through August 21st, promises another round of uncertainty, emotional confrontations, and carefully guarded secrets. Curtis finds himself at the center of a major turning point, while Valentin appears to be working toward an objective that could have consequences far beyond his immediate circle. For viewers who have been following these characters closely, the biggest question is simple. What exactly does Curtis' shocking verdict mean for his future, and what is Valentin really planning? The answers may not come all at once. Instead, the week could unfold through tense conversations, unexpected developments, and clues that encourage viewers to look beyond what is happening on the surface. Curtis faces a major turning point. Curtis has experienced plenty of complicated situations, but the events surrounding this week put him in a particularly difficult position. A verdict can change the direction of a storyline almost instantly, especially when the outcome affects relationships, personal plans, or future decisions. That is why Curtis' situation deserves attention. Rather than simply treating the verdict as an isolated event, viewers should consider what comes after it. The immediate result may be important, but Curtis' reaction could be even more revealing. Will he accept the decision calmly? Will he challenge what has happened? Or will the verdict force him to reconsider plans that he thought were already settled? Those questions create much of the suspense surrounding the week. Curtis is also someone who tends to think carefully before making major decisions. When circumstances change unexpectedly, he may need time to process what the new situation means. That could lead to several emotionally charged conversations. People close to Curtis may have their own opinions about what he should do next. Some could encourage him to move forward, while others may question whether the verdict truly settles anything. And that uncertainty could become one of the central themes of the week. One of the biggest possibilities surrounding the week is whether Curtis' situation and Valentin's activities eventually intersect. It would be easy to assume that these are two separate storylines. But on a soap opera like General Hospital, separate developments can eventually become connected. A decision involving Curtis could create an opportunity for someone else. A move by Valentin could create complications for people who never expected to become involved. That possibility makes the week particularly interesting. If Valentin sees an advantage in Curtis' changing circumstances, he could attempt to use the situation to his benefit. However, that does not necessarily mean Curtis will cooperate. Curtis has his own priorities, and he is unlikely to simply accept someone else controlling his future. That could set up a fascinating conflict if their interests collide. Curtis may have to trust his instincts. Curtis has always had to balance emotion and logic. During difficult moments, trusting the wrong person can create serious complications. But refusing to trust anyone can be equally damaging. The verdict may force Curtis to decide exactly who deserves his confidence. That could become one of the emotional highlights of the week. Someone may approach Curtis with advice that sounds helpful on the surface, but Curtis may question the person's motives. Another character could offer support without expecting anything in return. The contrast between genuine loyalty and hidden intentions could become important as the week progresses. For Curtis, the challenge may not simply be deciding what to do. It may be deciding who to believe. Valentin's next move could be carefully calculated. If Valentin is indeed working on a larger plan, viewers should not necessarily expect him to reveal it immediately. His most interesting moves often come through preparation. He may gather information. He may speak privately with someone. He may make a decision that appears insignificant, but later becomes important. That slow build-up can create a stronger storyline because viewers begin looking for clues. A simple conversation could suddenly take on new meaning after another piece of information is revealed. That is why Valentin's scenes during the week could be especially important. Even if he does not explain his entire objective, his behavior may offer hints about where the story is heading. Secrets could become the real story. One recurring theme in Port Charles is that secrets rarely remain hidden forever. Someone knows something. Someone else suspects something. And eventually, the truth begins moving closer to the surface. That could happen again this week. Valentin may believe his plans are protected, but someone could notice inconsistencies. Curtis may also decide that keeping certain information private is the best way to protect himself. Unfortunately, secrets can create their own problems. The longer information stays hidden, the more dramatic the eventual reveal can become. This is why viewers should pay attention not only to what characters say, but also to what they avoid saying. Sometimes silence can be just as revealing as a confession. Emotional conversations ahead. Alongside the suspense, expect plenty of emotional moments. Curtis' situation naturally creates room for conversations about trust, family, responsibility, and the future. People who care about him may want answers. Curtis may not be ready to provide them. That emotional tension can produce powerful scenes without requiring a huge confrontation. Meanwhile, Valentin's storyline could bring a different kind of tension. His conversations may feel controlled and strategic, particularly if he is trying to keep his true intentions hidden. The contrast between Curtis dealing openly with a difficult situation and Valentin quietly pursuing an objective could make the two storylines especially interesting to follow. What happens if Curtis refuses to back down? One major question is whether Curtis will accept his circumstances or fight for another outcome. A shocking verdict does not necessarily mean the story is finished. In fact, it could be the beginning of another chapter. Curtis may look for alternatives. He may seek advice. He may confront someone who he believes played a role in the situation. Or he could make a decision that surprises everyone around him. Whatever happens, the key will be Curtis' response. A character's reaction to unexpected news can reveal more about their personality than the news itself. If Curtis remains determined, that could signal that he is preparing for another challenge. If he becomes more cautious, viewers may see a different side of him. Either possibility could lead to future story developments. There is another important possibility. Valentin's strategy could eventually create problems for Valentin himself. Plans rarely remain perfectly controlled in Port Charles. Unexpected information can appear. An ally can change sides. A secret can be exposed. And a carefully designed strategy can suddenly become much harder to manage. If Valentin is counting on certain events happening in a specific order, Curtis or another character could disrupt that plan. That would force Valentin to improvise. And when a character known for careful planning has to improvise, the stakes can rise quickly. This could be the beginning of an even larger storyline. Why fans are watching Curtis and Valentin. Both characters bring different types of tension to General Hospital. Curtis' story is driven largely by personal consequences and difficult choices. Valentin's storyline is more mysterious because viewers may not know exactly what he's planning. Put those two elements together, and the week has plenty of potential. Fans may find themselves asking questions after each episode. What did Curtis decide?
Who is supporting him?
What does Valentin know? Who is Valentin talking to? And perhaps most importantly, are these storylines connected? Those questions can keep viewers engaged throughout the entire week. The bigger picture for August. The August 17th to 21st episodes could also serve as a setup for developments later in the month. Soap storylines often build gradually. A conversation this week may become important several episodes later. A decision made by Curtis could have consequences that are not immediately obvious. Likewise, Valentin's current actions may only be the first stage of a much larger plan. That means viewers should not assume every question will be answered immediately. Some mysteries are designed to unfold over time. The most important clue may not be the biggest moment of the week. It could be something small that becomes significant later. What should fans watch for? If you are following the August 17th to 21st episodes, keep an eye on Curtis' reaction to his verdict. His words, decisions, and conversations could reveal where his storyline is heading. Also watch Valentin carefully. Any unusual meeting, unexplained decision, or suspicious conversation could potentially provide another piece of the puzzle. Pay attention to characters who suddenly become involved. When a storyline expands unexpectedly, there is often a reason. And finally, watch for moments where two seemingly unrelated stories begin moving closer together. That could be the clue that Curtis and Valentin are heading toward a much bigger confrontation. The August 17th to 21st week of General Hospital looks set to deliver plenty of questions surrounding Curtis and Valentin. Curtis faces a shocking turning point that could force him to rethink his future. The verdict may change his circumstances, but his response to that verdict could determine what happens next. At the same time, Valentin appears to have his own agenda. Whether his plan directly involves Curtis or eventually affects him remains one of the biggest questions. What makes the storyline especially interesting is the uncertainty. Curtis may not know what comes next. Valentin may not be revealing everything he knows, and viewers are left trying to connect the pieces. As the week unfolds, expect emotional conversations, difficult decisions, hidden motives, and potentially important clues about what is coming next. The biggest question may not be whether Curtis receives a shocking verdict. It may be what he does after receiving it. And when Valentin's secret strategy finally becomes clearer, the consequences could reach much further than anyone expects. For General Hospital fans, that makes August 17th to 21st a week worth watching closely. Because in Port Charles, the biggest story is often not the secret itself. It is what happens when that secret finally starts to come out.